Throughout history, we have had a lot of various beliefs and ancient sciences throughout the world. A commonality between all of them is that they eventually go away. Ideas, religions, and practices like the ancient Greek and Roman pantheon, geocentrism, phlebotomy, and magic mostly faded away. Most of them were proven wrong, while some of them went out of style and began to look foolish in comparison to the wider scientific movement. There's one notable exception though, a practice or school of thought that never seems to die out, but instead falls in and out of style constantly. That is astrology. Dating all the way back to 17,000 years ago, the stars fascinate the human mind and activate our imaginary faculties, and it continues to do so to this day. But why is it so? Especially when astrology, or the traditional way it is thought about today, is sure to be 100% wrong. As we all already know, the Earth is not stuck in place. In fact, it moves. It rotates around the Sun, as well as around its own axis. Because of these movements and other gravitational forces, we go through what is known as the Procession of Equinoxes. More or less, it means that the location of the stars in relation to the Earth shifts slightly through time, returning to its starting position roughly every 25,000 years. The sky you see today will only be the same in thousands of years, when every trace of your being will be long gone. This, however, has quite an impact on astrology as a whole. The main concepts of the school of thought, first developed by the Babylonians and then improved by the ancient Greeks, have not changed since then. And here is where we find a huge problem. Someone born during the constellation of Scorpio in ancient Greece, at the same time of month and location today, thousands of years into the future, would in fact be born under the constellation of Sagittarius. And so, because of the precession of equinoxes, your zodiac sign should roughly be shifted by one. If you are a Scorpio, then you should likely be considered a Sagittarius. But when it comes to the description and supposed traits of the person born under these constellations, in many cases, they are at least fairly different. But taking this into consideration, why is astrology still so inherent and believed by many in our modern society? Why are people so keen on believing and validating their beliefs in this pseudoscience? To answer this question, we must not only look into the psychology of the person, but dig deeper into the subconscious and the world of symbols that opens up once we knock on its door. Seemingly billions of light years away in every direction, in the middle of nowhere, lies the Milky Way galaxy. In this galaxy, among billions of stars, there is one star that is special. There, in its orbit, lies a planet, with life brimming to the edges. The planet is Earth, our home. Compared to the limitless space of the universe, we are smaller than a speck of dust. In the larger scheme of things, we cannot change much, and no matter how far we advance our technology, we are nothing compared to the force of energy and matter that surrounds us. The fact that we cannot change that much in the wider sense of things can be frightful, but also it affords us complete freedom. If the universe does not care for us, then we are free to spend our lives however we see fit. We could be and do anything we wanted, but often this is far from liberating, and more often, completely terrifying. It is hard to build yourself from zero. We often need rules, a system within which we can find a place for ourselves, a system that can ease the pressure of freedom that our place in the universe provides. We need help to regulate our actions and emotions. We need a system to explain all the damning facts about our existence in the universe. We need to find our place in this world, a framework. Just like a specific astrological sign, it becomes especially easy to adopt it when our sign description says something that we especially relate to, activating our confirmation bias in the process, and making us think that if one thing is true, then other things are possibly true as well. We need help to make sense of this world, and astrology, just like any other pagan tradition, does just that. But Is it just that? Why associate gods or fate with the zodiacs, like the Greeks or Egyptians? Where does this need come from? Why do people turn to God and not immediately try to explain things in a way we call rational? And why is it that even a well-educated person in the 21st century is swayed by things that he would normally consider stupid? To answer this question, we need to go to a place far removed and yet so close to us. We need to venture into the world of the unconscious. If we think about things that are yet to be discovered, we might think about the deep oceans of the Earth, distant planets and solar systems, caves and forests far away from civilization. But to find something that is truly mysterious and fascinating, all we have to do is just look inside of us. Inside of our subconscious lies a world that is full of paradoxes, mysteries, desires, traumas, successes, and, as noted by Jung, symbols. Even though our culture flows forward and societies advance, we largely stay the same. That is, we're not that different from the primitive man. We have largely the same needs and desires, and even the same habits. It does not matter whether we choose to believe it or not. We are not all that rational in a traditional sense. We are largely driven by the need for something that is akin to a symbol when it comes to psychological meaning. Even ignoring the well-known forms of symbolism jam-packed into religions, we cannot forget the symbols present in all forms of media, like movies, books, music, and so on. The bottom line is that no matter what, we all have a need for psychologically charged imagery in one way or another. If we don't get it from religion, we get it from other sources. Every symbol and myth has its origin in the human soul, not outside events. The soul of a human is full of divisiveness, struggle, strife, devastation, trauma, and many other elements. Allegories to these parts of the human soul are found in nature or are reflected in myths and legends. Lightning becomes the father or god of thunder. The journey to the dark side of your psyche becomes the 12th labor of Hercules, and so on. The setting sun cannot just be a physical fact. It must also be the sun god Helios, or it must be the symbol of something coming to an end. The shortening days of fall and winter are not just normal facts, they are a symbol of something bad happening, something sinister as taking over the world. The happiness of spring and summer is swallowed up by the dark parts of the soul. This habit of projecting our inner conflict to the outer world is such a fundamental part of being human that it took thousands of years of culture to even begin this process. For a while now, it has begun to shift into a different mold. However, not all places are left alone from psychological symbols. Astrology is one of the few remaining places where psychological projection is still awake and alive. In this specific case, we can view astrology as a failure to separate our psychological characteristics from the stars. And so, our characteristics are not developed or given to us in any other way, but in the simple form of stars and their constellations on the day you are born. This failure and the mystical properties of astrology are why astrology is as popular as ever. On a final note, it is important to mention that although we deem the psychological projection of our soul conflicting with the physical world only as our primal inclination, we cannot simply say that it is not true or not useful. It is in fact true in a psychological sense. The same way we imagine a circle and then draw a circle on a piece of paper. The drawn circle is not the same as we imagined, but it is a projection of it. And so, even though the old beliefs about nature are not true in a physical sense, they are true when it comes to our psychological conflicts and elements. These conflicts are only given form in the outside world. Thanks for watching.